A lot about London when it comes to knife crime, because it does seem to very much be concentrated in London. What do you think? How do you think the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan's record has been like? Because clearly, from my perspective anyway, and many people's, he does not have a handle on this issue whatsoever.
Let's separate out these two issues. First is the Mayor of London. His record is terrible. The stats speak for themselves. We've had 2 record years since he's been mayor for homicides in London. Crime is so bad in London now that if you're sat in, I don't know, Scunthorpe, Leeds, Newcastle, Newquay, I don't know, you may think that it has nothing to do with you. Well, actually it does, because the crime is so bad. We export crime from London now, and that needs to be got on top of. And I think the real issue is when Sadiq Khan became the mayor 6 years ago, he made it quite clear that he wasn't going to back the police, and he made it quite clear he was going to do no stop and search. And those two things have put the police on the back foot. So every time they get into a tough situation, he throws them to the wolves. So the police are stuck between a rock and a hard place. If they act, they get in trouble. And if they don't act, they get in trouble. And I think that's emboldened criminals in London. And that crime is now spreading out across the whole country.
I know something that you've spoken about a lot, and certainly spoken to me about, is the foundations of society, really, and the sort of families people come from, and the cultural backdrop to growing, especially gang crime. I mean, let's talk about that a little bit more. Do you think it's because there's way too much taboo when it comes to addressing some of the social issues underpinning things like increasing knife crime?
Listen, I'll say something on here now and get instantly cancelled. I'll talk about family structure. I'll talk about mental health. I remember years ago, David Lammy, for instance, who used to trumpet the fact that a lot of knife crime is down to fatherlessness. He's now gone silent on these issues. Why? Because people cancel you. But let's be clear. Crime is multifaceted. There is no silver bullet. But one of the key issues that we could solve is family structure. Children who are looked after better, children who are monitored, are much less likely to grow into criminals. That is much easier if you have a stronger family setup, a family culture, whatever the shape of that family may be. But if you have that at the core, it's very important. And if you have communities where good, strong family structure is less prevalent than no family structure, you then see the effects of that. And then, of course, there's the talk about poverty, etc. But I want to be careful here, because the trope that poor people march off and get involved in crime simply isn't true. There's many, many, many poor people in this country, and their only relationship with crime is as a victim. What they normally do is spend all their time trying to make ends meet. So we need to be a little bit careful about, just dumping crime on poor people. I've lived in many poor communities. I come from one, and actually, we suffered from crime. We weren't really the perpetrators of it.